the NFL stands for not for long.
Set, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards of him.
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
Too many words are left to say, so they get left behind.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Colin Thompson Show. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Everything we do here is brought to you by Not For Long Media, and everything we do at Not For Long Media is brought to you by our friends over at the Original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. FudgeKitchens.com. Packed house today. I want to introduce all the boys. We'll start with Samboner Mick. How you doing, pal? What's the plan for Memorial Day weekend?
Dude, I'm checked out already. I'm ready to go down the shore. Every day feels like a Friday until we get to Friday.
Tuesday, coming to you live, checked out the 23rd at 1:35 p.m. If you had the under of when Mick would be checking out, you won. I would have guessed maybe Thursday checking out, but Mick's already checked out on a Tuesday.
Well, I just talked about that on my Mondays with Mick. You know, like, what's your strategy, right? You know, anytime this week comes around, you're always like, when are you getting down? Wednesday night, Thursday, and then, you know, shit end of the stick. You're down there Friday. You're leaving Friday at 5. And you don't get down there till 9 o'clock at night. But that's what's on everybody's mind right now. When are you getting out of Dodge?
When are you getting out and when are you leaving? Because a lot of, people have to go back to work, etc. But like, to me, I would be a Tuesday 4 a.m.er. I'm not sitting in traffic on Memorial Day Monday.
Oh,
leaving. To me, that's the secret. When you can get out of Dodge, I rather pay the piper on Tuesday, get a giant coffee at Wawa, and buzz home, and do it that way. Me personally,
same goes for any other weekend. Honestly,
yeah.
Like on a Sunday, like, why not celebrate Sunday? Why not have that Sunday fun day? Yeah, you got to suck it up, but get out of there 4 o'clock in the morning on a Monday and grind it out.
You just got to go to bed early a little bit, eat a good meal Sunday night. Not that I know what I'm doing. Yeah, that's why it's the best day of the drink of the year. Not that I would ever do any of that kind of stuff, as we're going to get into ranking the top 5 beers here in a minute. Speaking of top 5 beers, someone that I've had more or less 5 beers with in my life, the great man down Dan Brown, now Annapolis part-time resident, former NFL tight end. How you doing there, Delvey?
Great. Tomorrow is the week. The weekend starts for me tomorrow, so I might be beating Meg. The Blue Angels are taking off tomorrow. It's gonna be a great way to start. And everybody celebrates my birthday on Memorial Weekend, so the whole country celebrates me. So it's always a great weekend.
This guy, 31 years old. You think he's turning 40 or 30 or some, just monumental day. I already told him I'm not going out. I got to save up. It's a long weekend. We're not going Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They don't build us like we used to be. I'm a free agent still. I'm not retired.
I'll take off Friday if you go Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
We'll talk about it off air.
Almost Wednesday is the new Friday.
Yeah. So what Dan's referring to, for those that don't know, is and most wouldn't, this is commission week, Navy graduation, and the Blue Angels always come to town. And this is the first time I've been here for it as a resident. Dan now lives in Annapolis, so people are out on the boats. People are ripping it up all over town. They flew in today, the Blue Angels, from wherever they were, and they'll do their practice here. We'll probably hear them starting at 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. But the real show, is great audio there. The real show Tuesday is 2 to 4 practice, and then real show's Wednesday. So it's a huge deal. Navy graduation's going on. The Blue Angels are buzzing everywhere, and they're like super low. Normally low, where they are here. You can check my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I posted the video my friend took from Navy's campus. It's spectacular. So something fun we're looking forward to around here. Jack in the back, the man pushing the buttons, watching the NBA playoffs feverishly every night. Jack Cano, what's up, Pally? What are you doing this weekend?
I don't think I'm doing a single thing. I got to catch up on some yard work. I know we have to finish up some outdoor projects, so May and June, early June's a perfect time for that because it won't be too hot, but it'll be warm enough to get some stuff done. I'm the most boring person of the group this time of the year, so that is my current plans for the Memorial Day weekend.
Well, Jack, you're going to be the glue to this puppy this weekend because all three of us will be checked out. We appreciate you in advance. No, I'm kidding. For those that, want to do another deeper dive into Memorial Day weekend and hear like different Jersey Shore stuff, Mick and I at the Samboner Show Thursday are doing a preview show like we do at the end of every month. We'll be doing it. It'll come out sometime in the afternoon at night. Give you something to chew on your drive down the shore or while you're getting away from the kids on a long walk on a Saturday morning, sweating it out. We're going to do an episode all based off Sea Isle. So check that out, the Samboner Show. It's been an awesome addition, one of our biggest shows at Not For Long Media. It's been an absolute blast joining up with those guys and Mick. So check that out when it comes out. But it's going to be fun, and we're really going to dive into Jersey Shore, Memorial Day, and all the great businesses and great business owners, small businesses down there in Sea Isle. So I digress, guys. I talked about the Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. If you're going to a game this year, pop in promo code Colin Thompson, events, concerts. That's $20 off any ticket, $50 or more. SeatGeek, promo code Colin Thompson. Okay. Well, it's Memorial Day weekend. There could be some beers drank amongst some of the people listening, amongst some of the people on the show. Possibly. We're going to rank our top 5 beers because why not? This is listen, we talked about the best time of year in sports, but this to me is now the dog days of that best time of year. The hockey slowed down, the NBA slowed down. It's good stuff, but the volume is not the same as the Blue Angels start to buzz around here. You can hear them. It's going to sound like, a war zone here in a minute. But I'm going to start with Mick because I think Mick, he's a Samboner. He's a connoisseur. Samboner, I'm trying to push for a beer month at the Samboner. So anybody listen here, keep bugging Mick. We're going to get a beer month here soon. Mickey, what do you think? Top 5 beers for you, going 5 down to 1.
Yeah, well, considering you just threw this out there 2 minutes ago, I had to wrap this together pretty quickly. So this is a tough one for me because I probably have 25 top 5 beers. But for the most part, I'll just rip off my top 5 go-tos. At number 5, I would be doing Miller Lite a disservice without including them in my top 5. They are my number 1 go-to as just far as picking up a 30-pack, having a few light beers on a nice, Sunday afternoon. Who am I kidding? Friday, Saturday night. And then I have to go get another 30-pack on Tuesday. Number 4, we'll go with a local near and dear to Colin and I, the traditional Cape May IPA. They brought this out probably a good 10 years ago, and it's been ever consistent since. And I'm a big IPA drinker. I used to be a big IPA drinker, but there's something to be said about IPAs. They lose their consistency. Cape May IPA continues to get that recipe right. So I love picking up a nice 6-pack of Cape May IPA. Number 3 is another local here in Phoenixville called Sly Fox Pikeland Pilsner. I'm a big Pilsner guy. Love the fact that with this whole new craft beer, well, it's not new anymore, but they've created some good hoppy Pilsners that are a little bit lighter, a little bit less in alcohol content. So I love a nice Sly Fox Pilsner. And then my last 2, number 2, another consistent IPA, Bell's Two Hearted IPA out of Michigan. Been drinking the Bell's Two Hearted for a long time. And then, can you guess my number 1?
Coors Light?
Nope. It's best drinking in Dublin, Ireland. That's Guinness. Guinness is number 1 for me. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. So my number 1 is Guinness. Miller Lite, Cape May IPA, Sly Fox, Pikeland Pils, Bell's Two Hearted, and Guinness.
Wow. You know what? I just forgot. I don't know how I forgot, but I just had to take one off. I just had to sacrifice the Miller High Life, the champagne, and put Guinness on there. Wow. That's a good one. Yeah. I forgot about that one. Wow. I'm so upset with myself that I didn't put that on there. Great one, Mickey, and a great
You
list.
Samboned a Guinness, dude.
I know, right from England too, right in some pub in England. Loved it. Man down Dan Brown. Some people call him the DILF. What do you got, Pally? Top 5 beers for you. Oh, Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, whatever's in front of me.
The easiest that day. That's my top 5, and I'll drink all 5 in one day. Doesn't matter if it's cold and it's me, I'm drinking it. If it's in front of me, I'm drinking them. I'm not. But all 5 of mine are all light beers. I was listening to Mix, and it's like he's like absolutely destroys my list because he's got some good stuff in there. Mine, I would probably just say Miller Lite, Coors Light, Mick Ultra, Corona Light, Bud Light, and that's in order. 5 to 1.
Oh my God! Between Jack doing his lawn and your top 5, I'm about to fall asleep.
At any one point, they could just I am no expert on venturing out in terms of beers, but those 5 go down. Honestly, anything go down quickly for me. So, but at any one point, those 5 are going to go down pretty smooth for me. So,
Wow.
Nothing. We're not getting too wild over here, Mick. We're staying pretty
well,
pretty low key.
The reason why you're probably nice and slim and in better shape than this dad bod over here.
Right. Low calorie.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why you do it. Yeah. 30 later, same amount of calories. All right. So for me, my top 5 beer list, I'm going to go 5 High Lie, Cigar City Brewing. Love them down in Tampa, Florida. It's really one of the only IPAs I thoroughly enjoy. I like Cape May IPA too. Tan Limes at number 4, Cape May Brew. It's kind of like their Mexican lager. Love the Tan Limes at Cape May Brew.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. Guinness, of course, number 3. How do you miss that? Absolutely love that beer, and that's on me for missing it. I can't believe it. I think Guinness, people think it's like this heavy beer and all this different stuff, but like it's easy to drink. I feel better on it the next day. Like it's just honestly one of the best beers in the world, no doubt about it, if not the best. But these are my list. 2, good old faithful Rockies Mountains are freaking blue, baby. Coors Light, I also like Coors, the banquet beer. Love that as well, but Coors Light for me. And then number 1, Old Faithful, Corona Light, the gift that keeps on giving for me. It's been good to me over the years. So there's my top 5 beers. Pretty good list, boys. I love it. Strong list.
Let me ask you a question, Colin. Why Corona Light over Corona?
Yeah, so I like Corona Lights better. They're a little easier to go down. There's less of a this is what I've heard from people. It's one of the least gluten beers. So I don't feel as swollen the next day, especially with training and the football stuff. In season, I'll have like a.
Aren't NFL tight ends supposed to be a little more husky than watching their figures and all this?
Not all of them. Not all of them.
No, not anymore. Guys. Not anymore, pal. This isn't the old days, crushing Budweisers after games. But, no, so I got into it because a buddy of mine in college, his parents always had it in the fridge, right? And like we would go down there for spring break. They lived in Fort Lauderdale, like a block from Bow Campers. And La Spada subs, where somebody called me a hoagie virgin. I'll never forget that one. And I was shook, but that's a different story. They always had it. I'm like, this is really good. And then you drink a Corona and you're like, it's a little stinkier, whatever it is. I can't do it. So, I mean, I could do it, but hey, I like the Corona Light, man. It's ice cold. It's easy to drink. Bottles, can't beat it. Anything else, kind of tough to drink it out of, but the bottles are good. So that's good top 5s. I love it.
Less calories.
I appreciate it. I'm going to pass the ball to Jack. Less calorie. I don't even care about the calorie. Honestly, I don't. That's not my. That's not my game. That's why I get on the bike, an hour, 3 days a week to burn them all off. But we go transition now to NBA talk. Watching the NBA Finals in Key West, guys. Stop by Shots and Giggles Key West. My Uncle and Aunt's bar down there. You can't beat it. The Locals Bar, 10-seat bar, comfortable, cozy. Order food in. Watch the games with friends. Best place to watch football in the world. In Key West. Love it down there. Locals. Everyone's got different teams. It's fun. It's the NFC East bar of Key West. Check them out. Shots and Giggles, Key West. Jack in the back texted me this week, and he says, I want to talk NBA on the pod this week, which around here you got to request because I think it's a bore fest. Really do. We're going to go to Jack in the back. What do you want to talk about with the NBA, Jackie boy? LeBron's not retiring, by the way, too. That's just overblown. But
yeah, I was going to lead off with that. A lot has changed since I sent that text just because of how the playoffs have shifted. Obviously, everybody's clamoring at the fact that LeBron said his future is uncertain. I think that's more of the fact that I think he might just be getting out of LA more so than the fact that he is retiring. He's told multiple people he wants to play at Bronny. He said 45. He wants to get to that Brady type age. LeBron's not retiring. And just his ego, he would not leave without a farewell tour. Even if next year was his last year, like he's not the type of guy who's just going to walk away. And again, he wants to play at Bronny, who's about to be entering his freshman year at USC. I could see him on the move. I mean, LA is going to have a lot of depth next year. They're going to be able to bring pretty much everybody back. They'll have some more draft picks to trade. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I just like this fact that the NBA was pushing so heavily for big market teams, talking all about this Lakers, Celtics rivalry reignited in the finals, and now we're about to get Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets. Any basketball fan wants 10 times more. I mean, both these teams are so much fun. I just think the biggest story of this postseason is how players that have been hyped up so much by the media, none of them have made it far in the final besides LeBron getting, and the teams that did, they got embarrassed. LeBron got embarrassed, Jason Tatum got embarrassed, Joel Embiid and James Harden all got embarrassed in the postseason. Now you're left with Jimmy Butler, who was on the cusp of elimination right at the start of the playoffs. They lost the first play-in game. They looked dead in the water, and now here they are going to win finals. I mean, I think they had like a 3% chance to beat the Celtics. And it's just going to be a really fun finals. I think, Colin, you would enjoy it. It's two brands of basketball that I think you really enjoy. And I know you say, oh, it's after the second rounds when I start to tune in. I don't know if you have tuned in yet. I highly doubt that you have, but it's going to be must-watch basketball.
I hear you. No, it's good points. And then I'll go to Mick because Mick's jumping out of his seat. I know he's an NBA guy. Are you recovered, Mick, from the Sixers debauchery?
I'm not necessarily recovered. I take it to heart. I am a diehard Philly sports guy, but just watching Jokic, is that how you pronounce that guy's name? Jokic. I'm not a huge outside of Philadelphia basketball guy, but just watching that guy and just seeing the it factor, like he has it. Him and Jimmy Buckets right now have the it factor. And without that type of quality, you're not going to go the distance. And Joel Embiid, unfortunately, Jack, just did not have it. I just was listening to SportsCenter and listening to LeBron James and his take on his future. You know, he's got so much pull in this league, and it does make sense what he says. He's not going to play unless he has or at least he's playing with a contender. And, you know, the older you get, the harder it becomes. Although I will say, for everything that guy's been through, he looked healthy, man. Like in game 4, he looked healthy as a clam. I thought he could have rose up there at the end of the game and hit that 3 for the win and kept himself in it. But for the most part, my take is that, yeah, this is over. I'm glad it's quickly, becoming a 4-0 on each side. Jokic and Butler have the it factor, and those two are going to battle it out for the chip.
Yeah, and I'll keep it going. Talk about the Sixers here. As anybody watching on YouTube, Colin's going on like a mini adventure. I don't know what's going on here, but I mean, talking about the Sixers, it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year. I talked about it on Twitter. This team, they need a massive shakeup, and I think this team knows it. From a pure, I guarantee you, if there wasn't a financial ramification of moving him, I would highly believe the Sixers would consider trading Embiid just for the fact they are dead in the water. But I think the plan they have here, it's going to be interesting. Next year, they're going to have Tobias Harris's contract off the books. Tyrese Maxey, I believe, will be a restricted free agent because his 4-year contract will be up next year. James Harden obviously will be off the books. Even if he picked up his player option, he's not going to get a 4-year max from Philly. They will have draft picks back. They're able to trade. They aren't able to trade any picks right now because of the James Harden deal and stipend rules. I would expect the Sixers make a heavy push next year and just punt this year because they have no other option. All they have coming in is $12 million in mid-level exceptions. If Harden walks, unless you get a sign and trade, if you're lucky from Houston, you're not going to be able to get anything from that. You're going to still be negative in cap space, so you can't go chase a Levine or somebody in free agency. So they could be good in 2 years, but I mean, that's the best case scenario for this team right now. It is not looking good. And Harden, I would not blame Harden walking to Houston for that much money. I mean, that's $200 million. Nobody else would give him more than 130, 140. Daryl Morey, he might get flack for letting him walk, but I feel like everybody would side with him instead of giving at that point, it would end up being a 38-year-old James Harden, like $60-some million would be how the contract would shake out.
He's already not a high effort player. And my apologies, there are some Wi-Fi issues. He's already not like a high effort player. And if you're not the older you get and you're not a high effort guy, optically, it looks worse and worse and worse. Those turnovers become less manageable. I don't know. There's no way. I mean, again, I didn't watch a ton, so I'm not going to sit here and say, but like just optically, you can't resign. You can't do that. You can't handcuff the franchise over James Harden. Is a team that could, if James Harden's at his best, are they guaranteed to win? Are they a top 2 team in the league? Top 3?
Jack, whatever you're saying, by the way, I read something along the lines, the same thing with Crossing Broad. I think Kyle was preaching it. They can't announce that Because honestly, if they continue to go down this, we're going to trust the process and punt for a couple of years. Now we're going to trust the procedure and just kind of do a little quick fix. Like if we keep announcing that, we're just going to continue to be the laughing stock of the NBA. Do not record that, Colin, because I get my, but at the end of the day, like just make a couple changes. I'm glad that Harden did opt out. We still have Embiid. He needs somebody to complement him a little bit better. Does he have the it factor, though, at the end of the day? And he might not, man. If he can't get back past the second round, then it might be time to trade him.
Yeah, I mean, Embiid is out of excuses by far. But, I mean, in the terms of the situation the Sixers are stuck in, Daryl Morey should not get a single ounce of blame for this. He turned in a player who was virtually unplayable for the last 2-3 years into an all-star player. James Harden, as much as he's not worth the contract he's going to be getting, he's a hell of a lot better than whatever Ben Simmons has been. And you gave up 2 late first-round picks for another season and a half of contention when instead you could be walking here with a player half the caliber of James Harden if you traded him like elsewhere for a Buddy Hield combination. I mean, I don't know what else Daryl Morey could have done to put this team in a better position.
Dak, I got a question. So here's my thought when I saw LeBron James, like, I don't know about my future. Do you think, he is an ego guy, like you said. Is this whole thing like just a scam to say, oh, let's avoid the fact that we just got swept 4-0? Like, nobody's talking about like Lakers got swept, right? Everybody's talking about LeBron thinking about walking away. Like, is this just let's get the eyes off of the fact that we got swept and let me talk about something else?
I think it would have the reverse effect, to be honest. And one of the big talking points is there's been more talk about how bad the Lakers are than how good the Nuggets have been. They have been getting clowned. I think it's more of a fact that LeBron just I think it was a very nothing quote. I think it's just like we got to reevaluate, see what's going on, take it from there. It's just like you hear any NFL player say a post-game press conference. It's LeBron, and the media say, "Oh my God, LeBron might retire." So they pull half a second of a quote. They've done it for years with Embiid and Doc Rivers. Like Embiid had a whole press conference where he says, "I'm the star player. I take the blame. I'm the first one to get the thing." And like he says like 5 minutes of that, and then one part is like, "James and I need more help." And they just pull that nothing else, and they blow it up. So that's why I think it's the situation. I don't think LeBron is really trying. He knows he got embarrassed. He knows it's going to get thrown in his face for the next 5-6 months until they step on the court again. I don't think it was anything really alluding to retirement. If anything, switching teams because he's a 1-year deal left on his contract.
Is my mic better here, guys? Checking back in. We're back. So, no, it's interesting, too. Like, I was watching Cowherd before I jumped on, and he's like, LeBron's a very strategic player, like, with the media. He didn't just – there's a plan for everything.
He doesn't just say anything just to say it.
No. So there's a plan behind it. And I always tell people what really sucks, I think, for fans is I believe about 10% of what you hear and see on TV. The problem is people really put that as the truth. But the stuff that happens behind closed doors, and it's not like it's all bad or all good or real dramatic. It's just like it's 10%, 20% of what you're seeing on TV is actually the discussions that you're aware of. So it's shitty, but it's just a part, I guess, fandom. We'll skip to the bar of the week this week real quick on the Colin Thompson Show. Boatyard Bar and Grill. Bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by the original Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com. Love this place. A staple in Annapolis, Eastport area. Can't beat the location. Forward Brewing's right there. Adam's Ribs is going in there. And the Great Davis's Pub is right down the street. Can't beat those places. Loons with Chris, O'Leary's, and then, my opinion, one of the best of them all, Boatyard Bar and Grill. The place is tremendous. Great seafood, great bites, pizza, steaks, unbelievable crab dip appetizer. Absolutely love everything they got going on there at Boatyard Bar and Grill. A great happy hour during the week, too. Food and ambiance, 5 out of 5. Service, 5 out of 5. TVs, 4 out of 5. You're not going to walk in and be like, look at these TVs everywhere, but it's kind of an awkward layout, and they put them all over the place so you kind of can get a good vantage point of TV. So I respect what they did trying to make it work when it's not the best situation for TVs. And then beer and drinks, 4 out of 5. So Boatyard Bar and Grill, the bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show. Any bars of the week from the boys here? Any
Hell
bars?
yeah.
What do we got, Mick?
Yeah, dude. I mean, look, summer's here. We're going back down the shore. You gotta hit them all. And my favorite is kicks in Sea Isle because I can practically hit a 90-yard lob shot to it. And there's nothing better than kicks because it's like 9 bars in one. So you go in there and you pick your own poison. You go in nightclub, you want to go boogieing, you go to the nightclub. You want to go to the lounge, have a cigar and a drink, you go to the lounge. They got a little side deck. They got a little pool bar. Just recently, they added this big pentagon, which is kind of like an old carousel feel, just open air. They usually have some live music off to the left, a couple cornhole bags where the kids can play. We come off the beach. We leave our beach chairs right there, grab a couple drinks. They got 2 big flatties, all the beers on ice. It's a beautiful, beautiful day at the Pentagon and Kicks in Sea Isle City, baby.
Put this guy on the poster of Sea Isle, pointing at you. Now, Dan, is your bar of the week Davis's? Because that's the only bar that we go to.
Yeah, I would say bar of the week this week is Davis's because on Saturday we went 3 times. So that's bar of the week for me because Colin and I always go twice a day. This Saturday we did 3.
Not twice a day, not 7 days a week, but when we're
twice a day on the week. Like, so if we go out on Saturday, we're hitting Davis's twice. We're at least going there once, and then we're going to finish the night. This past Saturday, we went 3 separate times just because that's why it's bar of the week. So for me, with 3 times this week.
Yeah. Any what's the bar of the week this week for you, Jack? PJ Willihan's?
Yeah, we'll go with Wawa bar of the week.
Dan, you crack me up, man. We check in, we check out, we check back in, we check back out, and then we end the day at Davis's pub.
We
It's a great
always
day.
finish the day at Davis's, and we always go once before. But this Saturday, we left, we went back for like a late lunch, dinner.
What do they say? Is it like a Norm greeting from Cheers?
No, it's just a welcome back. I think it's expected. They're expected us to at least close the place down.
It's like oh boy. Yeah, so we were at lunch at Boatyard, bar of the week this week, with some friends in town. And then half the group wanted to go see a friend's house downtown. So we're like, well, Davis's are right here. Who wants to go to Davis's? Half the group said they do. Half the group said they don't. I'm like, well, let's go to Davis's for a quick one. Show our buddy Rob, who listens to the show. Thanks for listening, Rob. Also, Samboner bought a Samboner shirt. Shout out to Robbie Aldave. So we grab a pop at Davis's or 2, and then got to go back. So we went back later, hopped on the water taxi, which is sick, from downtown Annapolis right to Davis's pretty much. Hit that up. And then late night, we were heading home around 10 o'clock, 10, 11. And some people were like, we should go to Davis's for some late night grub. And I was like, well, here we go again. So, yeah, sneak peek into the old weekend there. Lots to discuss here. NFL rule changes, boys. The NFL, I'll tell you what, there's not another league like it when it comes to adapting and changing rules and listening to their fans, listening to the players. They constantly are changing things. Fans wanted another game. They got another game. Fans wanted some games on holidays. Some don't, but they got games on holidays. They, different expanded rosters, whatever. It happens. It does. Hey, listen. So I want to go to Dan first here because Dan and I are veterans of kickoff return. And I'm not on kickoff because I'm too slow, but Dan was on kickoff. Big Danny Brown, Man Down Dan Brown, Dilfy Dan, all the nicknames you have. What are your thoughts on all fair catches on kickoff return now being put down at the 25-yard line?
Mixed feelings, because from a fan's standpoint, I don't want to watch someone kick off fair catch at the 4 and get it on the 25. Watching college and seeing the kid fair catch at the 15-yard line is it's weird. So it's a strategic thing, right? So people are going to be like, okay, there are a lot of special teams coaches who have ego issues, right? It's like, okay, no, we're not going to do this. We're returning this, or we're just not going to return it at all. Like, because I know a lot of special teams coaches didn't support the rule change, but they have no say, right? They're just a special teams coach. So I know a lot of special teams coaches who don't like it at all. I personally don't like it because I don't want to see someone fair catch at the 15-yard line and get it to 25. I think it's dumb. I get what they're trying to do. Less collisions, less head injuries, less injuries like that. But from a guy who all he's done is played special teams, I like being involved. That's all I do. So I don't want to watch a kid fair catch at the 15-yard line and I go run off to the sideline, wait for my next play. Like I want to be involved. I want to play football. So I get what they're doing, but I'm not a huge fan of it.
I'm just new to this, honestly, and I'm not a fan of it either. But at the end of the day, like, what is the strategy? Are they trying to avoid less punting in the league?
Less full speed collisions on kickoff.
It's kickoff,
so
kickoff return.
More teams to go for it on 4th down.
No, it's not punting. It's kickoff. Just kickoff, Mick.
To start a game. Like we're starting a game or after
halftime.
After a score, halftime.
What you're going to see is this. So, Mick, they could kick the ball off, and for our fans that don't know, because honest question, it's kind of they're just starting to come out. The rules that got blessed at the spring meetings that happened this last weekend. You could kick the ball off now in college, and if you fair catch the football, the ball gets placed at the 25-yard line. The ball already gets placed at the 25-yard line if it goes out the back of the end zone or it's a touchback by any means, right? But now what you're going to see is, in my opinion, you're going to see a lot of squib kicks because there's some coaches that are going to say, hey, just squib it right at him. Have him make a decision. He's either got to get out of the way and hope it gets to the end zone, because if it doesn't get to the end zone, it's a live football. Or he's got to catch a squib kick and give our team time to get down there. So you're going to still see some collisions. It's football. The unique part is when there's penalties after touchdowns, you'll see teams kick off from like the 50. That's when it gets real dicey because they try to coffin corner it and pop it up and make the guy return it from like the 2. So he can't fair. Now they're going to be able to fair catch it. That's going to disappear. So you're going to see more like onside kicks and squibs, and like you're going to see some different tricky stuff, I believe, when it comes to that. And then from another side of it, and the side that people don't talk about, yes, competitively, you want to take that rep. Absolutely. That's how I've stayed relevant. That's part of what I do is a kickoff return. Like it hurts me because like on special teams, I don't run down on kickoff. I'm on punt and punt return and kickoff. I'm on punt and kickoff return. That's my 2 out of 4. I play on punt return too. But because I don't run like Dan or run like some of these tight ends, the physical stuff, kickoff return, that's my role. And I take it very seriously. And I'm in probably more of the high collision spots with it because that's what I do. So it takes money out of players' pockets a little bit, guys like myself. Bottom of the roster guys, like Dan was saying, trying to show more that you can do. You don't have those opportunities anymore. So that's one less opportunity for a player. Then on the flip side, for a positive, if you happen to be one of those guys, the ball's being kicked up out of the back of the end zone, kickoff's done. That's a play in the NFL, fair catch, whatever. You didn't touch anybody. Doesn't matter. There's something that's called player performance bonus. So for every play you play based off where you were drafted, I believe, or based off the money pool in your room.
Your contract value. If it's minimum, if you're a minimum contract type of guy, your play is worth more. And if you're a high contract guy, your play is worth almost nothing. So
say you're a first round pick and you're out on kickoff return. You're on defense. That guy may make $20 a play. If you're a guy like Dan and I who are undrafted, you may make $500 a play. So that ball goes out of the back of the end zone. A lot of players will be screaming cha-ching, cha-ching, because it's a free play. You didn't hit anybody and you just made $500.
There's a competitor in everybody who's like, I want to play football, right? I don't want to just run down the sideline and go sit back on the bench and wait for another kickoff. Also, the whole thing, I think one of the most exciting things is an opening kickoff, right? Everybody gets excited. We're starting the game, opening kickoff. Like, and a lot of coaches believe it to be like a tone setter, right? We're not going to kick it out of the back of the end zone. Maybe we will start when we get to be the last 4 or 5 games of the year. Let's start taking some stuff off of people's bodies. But beginning of the year, coaches are popping it up to the 5. It's a tone setter. Let's go pin them down and set the tone for the game. And now you can't, you're not going to be able to do that.
It hurts guys too. Like there's certain guys that are really good kickoff returners and they get paid every year to be KOR guys.
Right.
They're not going to get invested. They're just going to put a third running back there and tell them to fair catch every time. They're going to put their top receiver back there and wave a fair catch. This is stuff that I'm just thinking about while we're talking about this. This is going to affect rosters.
It'll be interesting to see, though. I think you'll be able to see personalities of special teams coaches. There are going to be some special teams coaches that says, we're not fair catching this. Like, I've played for coaches who be like, screw that. Like, we're not fair catching this. We're going balls to the wall.
So, fellas, I'm winging these rule changes as we go, and I'm looking at the list of proposed rule changes. Help me understand why the team is amending these rule changes. Like, for example, the first one I'm reading is actually Philadelphia amending the ability to wear number 0, which I believe DeAndre Swift will be wearing number 0, and any punter or kicker can wear a number between 0-49. And then the list goes down, and it says the Chargers amend this rule, the Detroit Lions amend this rule. Like, what is the deal with that?
Jack may be able to answer that better than us. What do you think, Jack?
I didn't know anything about amendments. I mean, is it just like they're changing their stance on the rule?
No, they're just saying, yeah, exactly. They're saying like, yeah, this is an NFL rule, but what is this? We don't believe in it, essentially.
I don't think I've necessarily never really heard of an amendment. The only
I've seen them.
Well, every team can propose a rule, and every team can amend a rule. Not say it's going to happen. It's got to be passed by the entire league anyway. It's got to be passed by a certain amount of votes. They're just putting in their. I want this rule changed. Can we talk about it? Or I don't like this rule. Let's amend it, type of thing.
So I know that part. Yeah, so I understand that part. So it's just basically Philadelphia brought to the table the idea of they want number 0 introduced. Right. I thought that he meant that he amended that the team amended the rule that was proposed at the winter meeting. That's what I was trying to.
They're tabling the discussion.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak on their behalf, Mick, because I have no idea why the Eagles say they do or don't want 0, or whatever team, But there's a lot that these rules are brought to the table every year. You'll see them XFL. This one's pulled from college football, but we're talking about the fair catch rule. And another rule that the NFL introduced yesterday, was the third quarterback. And I think it has massive impact. Obviously, we saw in the NFC Championship game there, Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback because on the active roster, the Niners thought it was best to play with 2 quarterbacks, like most teams do now, because there's not enough people. There's no really need. You never get to the third quarterback. You never have 2 quarterbacks get hurt. Well, Brock Purdy goes in and Josh Johnson goes in. Hassan Reddick goes off and really wrecks the game, the D-line of the Eagles. And all of a sudden you got Christian McCaffrey, quarterback, and the game got out of hand. And Christian's not taking any reps at quarterback ever. So I think it's really good for the league that they're doing this. I think you're going to see some – now, again, you're losing a roster spot because I think this kickoff thing, you're going to lose some less special teams type cats. I think you are. You're going to lose a type, maybe an elite kickoff returner. You're going to lose – you're just not as valuable now with that rule. But I do say this. They're going to have another roster spot available because teams that thought about having an extra quarterback, it helps them protect another quarterback and have another team not pick them up. It helps players, make another roster spot essentially in a roundabout way. And I think it's going to protect hurt players. It essentially gives them another inactive roster spot. So I'm excited for it, Dan. I think it's going to allow guys to get their pension. It's going to allow guys to add another roster.
Here's where my mind immediately went when I saw it, because it doesn't take up a roster spot. They can't play any other, position, right? So that's just a third quarterback that goes in if the 2 active quarterbacks can't play. The third quarterback is now. Does he get paid for an active game?
He has to. He'll be on the active roster. This is a good debate too.
But it's not a roster spot, so it's a little bit. That's where my mind went. I was like, is this guy getting paid for an active game, but he's not on a roster spot? Does he get paid if he goes in? Does he get paid regardless if he gets brought up?
He'll be on the active roster, and the active roster is broken up between all the players to one big salary cap. So. Yeah, it's a good point. Where's the 40 grand a game go?
Now, Colin, this is a question because you're hockey. Now, hockey, they have emergency goalies, right?
Yeah, they do. They're guys that come off the street. They were working at an insurance agency during the day, and at night they become an e-bug, emergency goalie.
Do they get paid for that?
It's a great question. I don't think – I think, they get paid like a yearly salary for it to be at every game.
I would imagine it'd be something like that because I've read the part of the thing is it's the players cannot play unless it is injury. So if a player gets in a fight or if it's they're suspended by the team or something, they are
they can
end of the game.
They can. The rule is if they get ejected or they get hurt, they can play. So
I didn't see the ejected part. I only heard the hurt.
They
part.
Can't get benched. Essentially, that guy's got to play.
Yeah.
Because then you start getting guys are getting credited season, they're getting benefits all based off that's where I'm saying is this an active game?
Yes.
If they don't play, but they're on the that's where I was thinking.
I'm assuming this is to my knowledge. This counts as an active game for a quarterback. They probably get 1/18 of their salary for every game, and it's great for the quarterback development process because they don't have to put these guys on the practice squad. There'll be 3 quarterbacks plus a practice squad guy. So you're going to see more development of quarterbacks. I think that's another thing that we haven't. I mean, I'm just bringing stuff up that pops into my head because the quarterback position is really underdeveloped. I mean, and now you see tons of them, but I'm saying like you don't have a ton of time. The starters get the reps. Even the backups take the practice squad reps. The practice squad QB may not get any reps. So you could see practice squads now be affected by that too. And you'll carry more players and not a practice squad quarterback. So it's going to be interesting. The business of sports that Dan and I are bringing in here are the conversations that happen in the locker room. Like, oh man, they're bringing in a quarterback.
And this all just got announced this morning, correct?
Yeah.
But it's just weird. It's weird to say like, okay, this guy is not on a roster. You know, is he going to be on the practice squad and we can bring him up? We can put him. We can dress like. Is he going to be a practice squad quarterback and he can be active for the game as the third?
On the 53 man.
But he's not on the like. So
well, there's been certain instances, just based on my personal experience and looking at baseball, Dan. Like, there's been instances where, a guy's been playing for the Lehigh Iron Pigs, which is a AAA affiliate for the Philadelphia Phillies, and mid-game he's driving an hour down to come play.
Yeah.
At the major league level that night. So maybe it's something like.
Yeah, I just know that there's
It won't be like that at quarterback.
It's the 53. Yeah. It's the 53-man roster. Like, are you carrying this guy on a practice squad? He gets to come up for the game to be the third quarterback.
No, like, he's going to be on the 53-man roster, Dan. He's going to be on the 53-man roster.
So you're still taking a roster spot for a guy that may or may not be, So you're still technically carrying 3.
Yeah, you are
on the roster. Now maybe it affects. Now maybe it helps with the active 46. This guy's not an active position.
Correct.
It helps. You can get another guy active.
It's interesting debate. And everyone's probably like, what are these guys talking about? This is what happens when we do it off the cuff, which is good. It's a good debate. These are the stuff that comes up and the guys are all asking in the locker room right now. This is what the special teams coach is asking the head coach, 100%. Just allow me to carry another linebacker, another tight end. Because from the instinct, guys, from me and Dan, I was inactive more than Dan was, but you're sitting down and, it's the beginning of the week. It's 53-man active roster, 46 only dressed for the game. So there's a linebacker, there's a tight end, there's a running back, there's a quarterback, and there's a defensive end that are on the inactive, 6 or 7 guys. You may start the week and you think you're going to be on the active, and then by the end of the week, you're not on the active roster. You're not playing in the game. But you may find out you think you're active until you walk into the stadium and there's a note on your door saying you're not right on your seat. You're not playing. So, this is all a puzzle piece, and I know it's not a big deal to fans, and you'll turn the game on and move forward, but that's not our show. That's why we got Dan on. I think it's a good conversation because it's going to affect the business of football. It's going to affect guys' lives, pensions. Right, for a guy like me, I need 3 games to get my pension. Dan has his at times 50 because he's, that's what happens when you're good and I suck, right. But you're a stud. So no, it's interesting stuff, and I know it's kind of nerdy football stuff. We'll move on. Okay. Moving the draft city to city. This kind of all started with Philly. A lot of people, Adam Schefter podcast, if you guys listen to it, Adam's got a great show. It's different than what you see Adam on TV. I've had him on the show twice now. I think he's got a really good personality. He's a super nice guy, gracious with his time, family man, great storyteller. TV, he gets on there and he rips it up quick. He's got to. But this all started in Philly. The draft was tremendous. Hassan Reddick, my teammate at Temple from Camden, from Philly. I mean, gets drafted, unbelievable. And now these cities, man, they're incredible. Mick, did you get down to the one in Philly? Did you do that?
I did. It happened to be the day we buried my grandmother at 97. Rest in peace, Mary. And we all went down after the service and celebrated in her honor. And it was an unbelievable event. I think the city needs to cater to it. And Philadelphia does exactly that. Just like we saw in Kansas City. I thought Kansas City did a phenomenal job as well. Las Vegas did a phenomenal job as well. Like the parade in 2017 for the Birds was just the perfect setting. And that's exactly where they did it for the draft, right on the Rocky Steps, right down JFK Boulevard. And it just caters well. I mean, to the point we had Live Nation there at once, right? You remember the Live Nation concert in London and Philadelphia? So Philadelphia caters very, very well to those types of events. And it was just an awesome, awesome experience for the fan. A lot of good content came out of that too, with all those little statues of like each team. And I'm not going to get into it. Never mind. It's an adult show.
Maybe for another day.
I was about to go off the rails here, but no, dude, Philadelphia did a great job. And I think it's huge for any big city, football city. You just said Green Bay, though. I don't know about that, man. That might be too cold.
So I was actually talking about this with Andrew Brandt earlier today, and he brought up a good point that
Not a big deal.
a lot of great parts about these cities, like these Green Bays, that won't be in the Super Bowl. I mean, they push to draft these places because the NFL, like the executives of the teams, everybody, they don't got to be there. It's just the players, the commissioner. It's for the fans, and it's nothing that really affects the teams and allows these to explore these markets to give these other places shots that necessarily want to get Super Bowl bids, anything of that sort. So Philadelphia, Nashville, Green Bay, Vegas got the draft, but Vegas is Vegas. I don't think they actually got the draft. They just were nominated for it and had the COVID year. I don't know if they actually ever had there or not. But it allows for all these other small markets to get a good shot at NFL nationwide exposure. It's really zero risk. I mean, it's going to be late April, early May in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I can't imagine it's going to be cold. You know,
I hope not. I mean, it could probably be in the 50s, 60s, but we'll see how it goes. But I think it's great for these small, like a small market like Green Bay, where they only really bring in money during the season. And Dan and I played there. There is nothing there. Now you need to go and see it, folks. If you've never been, it's worth the time. It's if you're just a sports fan and you have any passion for just sport in itself and community, it's a big college town with a historic NFL franchise in it. That's what it feels like. A small college town, honestly. It's even smaller than a big like Penn State or Gainesville. It feels smaller than that. So I think it's really big for the economy there. Like Nashville crushed it. Vegas, perfect. It's a great point by Jack, given these cities in the Northeast that wouldn't have it. You could see it probably going to New York eventually here.
Where would they hold it? Where would New York hold it?
Well, right at probably MetLife with the track, with the horse track right there, and all that would just be bedlam. Could do it in the city too, in New York, right in the street. I'm sure they could shut down Times Square and do something.
Chicago would cater well to it as well.
Chicago's great, very Philly-esque. No, it's a good point, Mick. I think you're leaning into it from the city's perspective. Do they have the architectural and then the people and the support and the fandom? As the boys are starting to fly over here at the house, but yeah, and girls, but no, it's good stuff. I think it's going to be fun. I enjoy. Here they go.
Wow.
My house too.
I could see your house shaking, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe that was an illusion. I thought Dan's pictures were shaking.
They are.
I think I touched my screen. That's
dude. Wow.
I'm giving you the effects.
Look at the hair standing up on my arm.
Dude, that was fucking awesome. You kidding me?
Look at the hair literally standing up. Oh my God, I'm starting to sweat. That was right above our house.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
And that does it for another episode. No, I appreciate everybody tuning in. We're a little long, but I don't care. We're not a little long. We had a great time. We talked about a bunch of different things. Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody enjoys it. Man down, Dan Brown, Samboner Mick. Check out our show Thursday. And the great Jack in the back doing the ones and twos and always keeping us in line. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks for all your support. Thank you to our sponsors, Fudge Kitchen, Shots and Giggles. Check out SeatGeek, promo code Colin Thompson, Actions Over Words Apparel in K-May, New Jersey. That does it. No guests this week. We'll follow up next week. I hope everyone has an awesome Memorial Day weekend.